Welcome to my mess of a garage, and today I'm going to be telling you about my 1970 Dodge Challenger and how we've gotten to this point we are today. Now, I bought this car about a year and a half, maybe even 2 years now, and I still really haven't gotten to drive it on the road yet. And that's because I've had issue after issue, and of course this is my first time ever dealing with something like this. We actually bought two cars in this deal, and we got a 1981 Corvette as well as the car you see behind me being the 1970 Dodge Challenger. And let me tell you, they've been an absolute blast. The Corvette was super easy to get back on the road, and they've been sitting the exact same time. So I don't know what's going on with this car, but to me, if you know anything about the Ford Eleanor story of Nicolas Cage in the movie Gone in 60 Seconds, this is my Eleanor. And that's how it's been feeling for, well, about the entire duration that I've owned it. It's been some highs and lows, and I'm going to tell you all about it. And I'm going to tell you exactly where we got these cars from and the entire story behind that, because I think it's important to keep the story along with every car that you own. Okay, so really quick, we're just going to cover exactly how these cars came into my possession. So luckily in my profession, I get the opportunity to explore a lot of properties that have been handed down to other family members and so on. In this particular situation, a gentleman near me had passed away, and there was a lawyer involved. The lawyer knows me through some connections pertaining to my profession, and said, hey, we've got this lead for a couple cars. I know you're into cars, and you want to come check them out. And of course I said yes. So went out there, took a look at them, and he said, okay, I have to go talk to this family member. I think they were down in Georgia. We're in Ohio, and it's the only family member that they could find. So 8 months go by. I don't hear a word. And then all of a sudden, this woman from Georgia ends up calling me, and we put the deal together on both the vehicles. And that was it. So that's how these cars came into my possession. And unfortunately, I don't have a whole lot of background on these vehicles because the woman down in Georgia was basically estranged, and these kind of fell into her lap. So we didn't know anything about these cars other than the condition they were sitting in the garage in. So basically when we found these cars, I'm going to see if I can pop up some photos. I don't know if I took any videos from when we actually moved these cars back here. But I'm going to try to pop up some photos of how exactly we found these cars. I mean, there was stuff piled on top of these cars. I mean, it was kind of like a hoarder situation. It really was. And both cars were up on jack stands. It was really weird. So we didn't really have the best idea of what we were buying just because we didn't know the history behind them. But now you know as much as I do. Let's take a tour around this car. Now, of course, the very first question I always get asked whenever somebody sees the car is, what's under the hood, brother? What is it? Well, it's kind of uneventful. We're just running a 318. It is the original engine, and one day I do plan on upgrading it, but for right now, this is just fine. Like, it'll work. It'll get you down the road. It'll get you to the car shows. This is all I need. But the car enthusiast in me would love, of course, the 426 Hemi, and that's a pipe dream at best because we don't have 426 Hemi money, but that's okay. We might get lucky. We might find a 440 or something like that. But as you can see, pretty basic 318. So it didn't always look like this though. So there has been a lot of changes under the hood, and that hasn't been exactly by my choice. That's what the car wanted. We'll put it that way, to say the least. So this car has given me the runaround in all sorts of ways. I'm going to try to coherently project that towards you guys. So up top, we'll just start up top. We have an Edelbrock carb. So we've got an Edelbrock carb and intake manifold now. Okay, so this car came with a single barrel, very restricted single barrel carburetor, and we immediately decided that had to go. So that's usually the first things a lot of guys do. So we decided, stick with the basic setup here. Edelbrock, makes sense. Then we had to figure out all the linkages, which honestly, between you and me, I'm not sure if those are exactly right, but we're going to figure that out down the road, literally. And you can see there's all kinds of space up front here. And that's because we used to have an AC compressor sitting right up top, and it was this huge chunk of cast iron. You know, it was 1970 technology, okay? So it wasn't the lightest thing in the world, and I would never run AC in this car anyway, so we just got rid of it. I did keep it, you know, that way it's original to the car. If I ever decide to sell this thing, which I don't plan on doing, but it is there if we need it. And you can see there's a bunch of stuff that still needs buttoned up, and we'll get there, but all the major stuff is done. So we've got all the basic stuff too. So with brand new plugs and wires, we still have the original distributor. We do have a new coil, and we have new bolt-on parts that just made sense when we were in there, and we'll get to that in a second. So you can see we've got a brand new water pump down here, new belts, hoses, all the 9 yards. So that's pretty basic. Now, one addition that I do love to this setup is actually over here. It's not the engine, it's the brake booster. So originally this had manual brakes. All 4 wheels had drum brakes. It had drum brakes originally, and one of the upgrades I wanted to do right away, because the original brakes needed reworked anyway, is to upgrade the front to disc brakes. So the front is disc brakes and the rear is still drum brakes back there. Another addition we did, and that's because the engine actually had to be pulled out of this car for a nonsense reason. And I'll dive into that in a second. But another addition up here is the long tube headers. And those actually came with the car. So the guy before me must have wanted to put long tube headers. So we just fulfilled his wish, and we went ahead and agreed and happily did that. And they're open right now. We got to go to the exhaust shop and get some welded up. So a little bit of a story time now. So we decided we wanted to get this car out on the road. We were very eager to do that. Fired this thing up for its first test drive, and we pulled it out of this garage. Noticed coolant pouring, absolutely gushing out of the backside of the engine, and had to cut that test drive very, very short. So one of the freeze plugs on the back of the block actually blew, and I tried everything to get to it, and I just couldn't do it with the engine installed. So this entire engine had to come out, which I had never done before. So that was an interesting process. Thank you, YouTube mechanics, for showing me the ropes. But we got that done. It's all buttoned up now, and it fires up. Sounds great. We do have to adjust the timing, but that was an adventure I did not expect to get into. Are you guys enjoying the view of my messy garage yet? It's in this state because of this car. Usually it doesn't look like this, I promise. And once this is finally finished, I swear to you, I'm going to get my garage back in order. But for now, you'll just have to enjoy the mess like I do. So on the side, nothing has really changed. Okay, the only thing that's changed is the wheels and tires, which I think personally look great on this car. They're period correct. The wheels that came with this car, one, were too small for the new disc brake setup. So when you're going to aftermarket disc brakes, they call for at least a 15-inch wheel, and the wheels that came on this were 14-inch. So I just missed out on that, but I'm honestly not upset because I think these wheels really complement this car. And we just went with the Cooper Cobra Radial GT tires, which I run on all my classic cars. Love them, never had a reason to hate them. Okay, let's see, the paint. So the paint, what we've learned, is not original. This would have been a B5 blue, which if you guys know anything about B5 blue, it is a absolutely stunning color on these cars. And one day, when I get a little bit more funds and a little bit more time, I do plan on going back to the original color. Before we leave this position, if you guys have some sharp eyes, you might be able to tell something about this car that makes it a little bit special. Do you know what it is yet? I'm going to walk back here, and we're going to see if you guys get the hint. All right, so this badge right here, this is an SE car, and with that, the SEs all came with a smaller rear window and a few extra goodies, and I'm not going to pretend like I know everything about the Dodge Challenger SE cars, because I don't. But one change I will show you is actually inside. All right, so we're going to pop this door open. And I do know we get some special badging on the door. Sorry about the glare there. But another cool feature is this overhead console. And people online seem to make a pretty big deal about those. try to get in closer for you guys. And I don't know, I think that would have thrown up different metrics. I'm not sure what this was actually used for, but it's kind of a cool little quirky feature of the SE cars. Interior, it's not horrible. I do wish I had a tilt wheel. I'm probably going to go to a smaller steering wheel just to get a little bit more comfort inside. Seats aren't bad. The rear seats are actually really good, but the front seats, as you can tell, they've got some tearing and will need replaced down the road, but of course that comes when more funds come. So we're waiting on that for a little while. I do have another console. It looks exactly the same that I'm going to swap into this vehicle just because it's busted on the backside. But other than that, not a whole lot going on in here. You can see the gauges. They're not the rally gauges, but that's okay. Something to look forward to in the future. All right, so that brings us to the rear. Nothing really has happened back here. I just painted the insert back here flat black, and I think that's about it. New lock mechanism because we didn't have keys to the old one. And then you can't see it under here, of course, but we do have brand new air shocks. Now for the other side of the car, this was one of the first mods I did, and I gladly ordered this. I've always wanted one of these, and these are so cool to me, even though they're super simple, but I had to have that flip open gas cap that is so iconic on these cars. Now, I would show you more of this side of the car, but currently I can't really get to it with the state of my garage. So in an update video, I will pull this out and show you this car in the sunlight. All the body panels, for the most part, are really solid. There's a little bit of rust on one of the rear quarters, I think. But other than that, if you really take a look, it is a really solid car, and I can't wait to finally get this thing down the road. All right, so that is the speed edition of the Grand Tour of this car. I'm not gonna fire it up in this video. I will make an update video though, because we are open headers right now, and it's not too much fun, especially on camera. It's loud enough being in the car, but on camera it's just annoying, and you guys wouldn't be too happy with me, and I wouldn't do that to you. So that's pretty much it. That's the Grand Tour. That's the story. I wanted to put that out there. If nobody even sees this, that's okay. At least I can have some reflection back on this at some point, but hopefully some other people will enjoy this, and I'll post some other updates about this car, especially once we finally get this on the road, which I've been looking forward to for, like I said, the better part of 2 years now. So I'm excited for that next journey, and I'm excited to bring you guys along for it.